Is just saying the words, "I'm sorry," enough to fix a broken rhythm? Today we are looking at an ancient text, not as a dusty rulebook, but as a brilliant blueprint. We are diving into Leviticus 6 to see how a whole society maintained justice, order, and its connection to the sacred. First things first, Leviticus is not just some long list of don'ts. It is way more like an instruction manual for creating what the text calls holiness. This is really a state of balance, where everything is in its right place, both between people and with the divine. Every community has a certain rhythm, right? A harmony. These ancient laws and rituals were the playbook for what to do when that rhythm got thrown off. They were the established, agreed-upon way to get back to that balance. So how did this actually play out in real life? The first example is all about what happens when you mess up with another person. It involves a fascinating mix of a legal procedure and a religious ritual called the guilt offering. And look at how down-to-earth these offenses are. We are not talking about abstract spiritual sins. This is about cheating in a business deal, stealing something, or finding your neighbor's lost wallet and pretending you didn't. These laws protected trust and honesty in daily life. So you messed up. How do you fix it? It wasn't enough to just say, "My bad." First, you had to own it and acknowledge guilt. Step 2, you had to give back what you took. But it didn't stop there. You then had to pay an additional penalty before bringing an offering to the altar. You didn't just pay back what you stole. You paid it back plus an extra 20%. The goal wasn't just to break even. It was to actively repair the damage, acknowledging the trouble you caused and making the victim more than whole again. We've seen how they repaired relationships between people. Now let's zoom out to the ongoing relationship between the entire community and God. That was symbolized by one central non-stop ritual, the fire on the altar. The command from the text is direct and powerful. This wasn't a campfire for a special occasion. It was meant to be a constant, perpetual presence, a living symbol of a connection that had to be tended to every single day. And keeping that fire going meant real physical work. It was a grind. Every single morning, the priest had an exact routine. Notice the details. He wears special clothes for the holy work, and then he has to change into regular clothes for the mundane job of taking out the ashes. Maintaining that spiritual connection wasn't just a thought. It was a physical commitment, a dirty job built into the start of every single day. Now, that fire was used for all sorts of offerings, and this is where the details get specific. It's a mistake to think all offerings were just tossed on the fire. Each one had its own unique protocol. For a standard grain offering, the priest could eat it, but with absolutely no yeast. An ordination offering, no one could eat it. It had to be burned. The sin offering, the priest could eat it unless its blood was used in a high-level ritual. It is a super organized system where every detail has a purpose. That brings us to one of the most mind-bending ideas in the whole text. Holiness wasn't just a state of being. It was a tangible, powerful force, transferred through physical contact. Think of it like spiritual static electricity. If an ordinary person touched the meat of a most holy sacrifice, that sacred quality would literally jump to them. If sacred blood splashed onto a priest's robe, you couldn't just throw it in the laundry. That clothing was now holy too. This is my favorite example because it is so practical. Look at the rules for the cooking pots. A clay pot is porous, so if you used it to boil holy meat, it would absorb that holiness deep into its material. You couldn't get it out, so the pot had to be permanently broken. But a bronze pot, which isn't porous, could just be scoured and rinsed really well and it was good to go. The actual physical properties of the object determined what you had to do with it. From a 5-step plan for making things right, to a clay pot that could become too holy to exist, Leviticus 6 gives us an incredible blueprint for a world where justice and the sacred were everyday forces. This leaves us with 2 important questions to think about. How do you actively repair trust and make someone more than whole when you make a mistake in your own life? And what are the daily routines and blueprints that define and maintain what is sacred for us today? Take a moment, breath, and let them sink in.